we have the inner understanding of what is Chassidus.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting because people don't quite know what we're talking about when we say what is Chassidus.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you a very mundane example. If I say to you, oh, the Queen of England, oh yeah, she is the best dressed woman in England, well, whether you agree or don't agree, never mind. Is that who she is, or is that an outcome of the fact that she's the Queen? Say she has the biggest budget of any other single person. Is that who she is, or is that an outcome?
No.
It's an outcome. If you say she's the most media coverage, it's not who she is, it's an outcome of who she is.
Yeah.
She is who she is, whatever she is, I couldn't care less. But she is who she is, and because of who she is, therefore she perhaps might be the best dressed, or the best media coverage, or the biggest budget, or whatever else, okay? But those are all side points. They are outcomes. They're all truths, whether they could all be truths, but they're all
to anyone else.
They're all outcomes of the fact that she is, okay? There is something, what it is, and then it's the side benefits of it, okay? So, you are a mother, you are a business owner, you are a home maker, you are a friend, but who are you? Yeah, very different. Okay. So when we say what is Chassidus, we'll come up with lots of ideas. Because of what Chassidus is, it teaches us to be b'simcha. Yes, it does. Chassidus teaches us to go to Pnei Rosh Hadin, to behave in certain ways. But that is not what Chassidus is. What Chassidus is, as you mentioned, nishmasa da'araisa, the neshama of the Torah. It is seeing the essence of everything. I prepared this worksheet, and then I taught this lesson twice, and then I realized that the worksheet wasn't the right style, so I'm going to teach it from bottom up. Okay? So we're jumping around a bit. I'm going to start with the very end, which is Mishalim, to understand what Chassidus is. We know historically, Baal Shem Tov was how many years ago?
250 and now 300.
Yeah. The Baal Shem Tov was the very first teacher of Chassidus. The Baal Shem Tov was the one who was Zoiche to reveal Chassidus into this world. The Baal Shem Tov was a very beautiful, pure neshama who came into this world with a mission of waking up Am Yisrael, with a mission of revealing Chassidus. The Baal Shem Tov at a very young age was orphaned from both parents. His father told him not to fear anybody but Hashem. He would spend much time in the forest, etc. When the Baal Shem Tov was 26 years old, he was zoichet to start learning with Achia Hashiloini. Achia Hashiloini, you know what Achia Hashiloini is? Achia Hashiloini was from the times of Tanakh, yes? And it's learning with Achia Hashiloini is equivalent to, say, learning with Eliyahu Hanavi. Okay? But not Eliyahu Achia. Yeah? Achia Hashiloini revealed himself to the Baal Shem Tov. And from age 26 till age 36, for 10 years, Achia Hashiloini taught the Baal Shem Tov Chassidus, Pnimius HaTorah, Nishmasa, the neshama of the Torah, the essence. He went through from Bereshis to Devarim, so the Chumash, but taught it to him with the inner light, with what everything actually is. Okay? So every single halacha, every single parasha, every single story, every single letter in the Torah now had a neshama to it, which was revealed to the Baal Shem Tov. At age 36, the Achia Hashiloini pressures the Baal Shem Tov to reveal himself, to no longer just hang out with the hidden tzaddikim, as he was doing till then, and working on his own avodas Hashem, but to reveal himself as a tzaddik, as a rebbe, as a leader, as a miracle worker, to assist Am Yisrael, to aid Am Yisrael in a revealed way, and to nourish them with the Torah of Chassidus. Okay? Meaning that Hashem saw fit for this generation, as in 300 years ago, Hashem saw fit that right now we need this tzaddik, the Baal Shem Tov, to come to the world, to bring Chassidus to the world, and we are now living in a post-Chassidus revelation time, where wherever you go, you will sense the Chassidus, how it's changed the world. So then what is this Chassidus that the Baal Shem Tov was given to reveal to us? And why do we need it, and why now? A mashal was given by the Baal Tanya. You see, the Baal Shem Tov is Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov had a Talmud called the Maggid, Mizrach Maggid, yeah? We all know Mizrach Maggid. Mizrach Maggid had many Talmidim, Talmidei HaMaggid. The students, the Talmidim of Mizrach Maggid went to different towns. They were sent all over Eastern Europe to establish Chassidus in their area. And hence you have today all the different branches of Chassidus. I'm this Chassidus or I'm that Chassidus. Whichever Chassidus they are, it's the town that their family comes from, that the Maggid sent a Talmud to this town to bring Chassidus there. Okay? So all the different branches of Chassidus is all the different Talmidei HaMaggid, or a couple of generations after that, established
That's when the
Chassidus
whole
in their towns.
branches started.
Yeah.
About 300, yeah.
Oh yeah, Ger and Bov and Belz
Yes.
and Vision. So it's all different towns with Talmidei HaMaggid or Talmidei HaMaggid established Chassidus in those towns, and the dynasty, that the Rabbonim, the Rebbes who came from that town, had those minhagim and that type of Chassidus and that style of Avodas Hashem, and hence you have all the different communities. Now, post-war, everything got messed up and whatever, and we all resettled in England and America and Eretz Yisrael, whatever it was, and they re-established as those towns for him. Now, Baal Shem Tov, Maggid, Talmidei HaMaggid, yeah, 3 generations. Reb Zusha and Reb Elimelech and the Baal Tanya and Kotz and Koretz and the rest and all. Okay, good. Okay, so you have Reb Pinchas Koretzer, who was one of the Talmidei HaMaggid, and you have the Baal Tanya, who was also one of the Talmidei HaMaggid. And Reb Pinchas Koretzer sees a settle of Chassidus. No, they didn't have printing presses, so it was written out Chassidus, lying in the streets, in the schmutz, in the gutters. And he gets very upset. And he says, Hayitachin, how could it be that the neshama of Torah, neshama of Da'araisa, the beautiful revelations of the secrets of the Torah, were telling you the panimius of everything, is lying in the streets? This is a chil Hashem. This is a disgrace of Kedusha. Hayitachin. And Reb Pinchas Koretzer wanted that Chassidus should not be written down, should not be printed, should not be distributed. It should only be taught mouth to mouth, only people who are roy, who are worthy to learn it. Do not spread it outward, because look what happens to it. Okay? Now, the Baal Tanya felt differently. He felt that it should be spread to everyone. Okay? I mean, just think about how many people he had, that the Baal Tanya affected so many people that he couldn't see everyone for Yechidus. He had to write the Tanya as a replacement for Yechidus. Yeah? Okay? So he believed in spreading it. They were friends, obviously. It's both Talmidim. And the Baal Tanya says a mashal to explain why it's okay to have this piece of Chassidus rolling in the streets, even though it's so disrespectful. And he says this is the mashal. There was a king who had a crown prince and sent his crown prince off to faraway lands. Ladies, you've all heard his mashallah before. Who's the king? Hashem. And who's the crown prince? Am Yisrael. And where's the faraway lands? Golos, this world, whatever. Okay? Good. So there's a king, and he has a crown prince, and he sends his prince to faraway lands. He sends his prince to faraway lands in order to learn new wisdoms. In the palace, you're very sheltered, and you're very protected, and you don't grow from a protected environment. You grow from challenges, and you grow from learning from other cultures and other people. And so he sends his son to faraway lands to learn about all the different new birds and animals and cultures and climates and different things. And news comes back to the king. The king hears that his precious, precious son has fallen ill. His precious son has fallen ill. Terribly, terribly, terribly ill. And the king is so upset. And all the best doctors and all the best physicians are unable to heal the son of the king. The king is distraught until one very wise man comes to the king and says, I have a refuah, I have a remedy for your son, and this is the refuah. There's a certain gem, this is what it looks like, this is what it feels like, this is how you can identify it. If you can find such a gem, this gem has special mineral properties, that if you will crush up this gem into a fine powder and mix it with a special type of wine, and if you then feed this liquid of this mineral, the gem, in between your son's lips, and it enters his mouth, and he ingests it, The minerals of this gem can cure your son and make him better again. And the king doesn't waste a moment. He instructs all of his ministers and officers to please search the royal treasury and find this particular gem. They do so. They open the royal treasuries, they look through, and they cannot find this gem. Until finally, they have found and located this unique gem exactly according to the wise man's description. And where is this gem? It is the crown jewel, the central jewel of the king's crown. So they tell the king the good news, we found it, and the bad news is that we have to take apart your entire crown to get it. You don't not take apart king's crowns. I don't know if you know anything about king's crowns, but it gets passed down from generation to generation. Yeah. It represents the entire kingship, represents everything. It is the Yerusha. It is the kingship. You do not take apart the king's crown. But it's the king's son we're talking about here, which is the future. So past versus future, right? Yeah. Okay, what are you going to do? Now, the king says, hey, about my son, yeah? Then the news comes from the faraway lands that the son has become so ill that his mouth is shut and his lips are closed and he's not taking in any food. He's not even taking in any liquid. The case is lost. There isn't a reason to crush up this gem if he's not going to take any liquid between his lips anyway. So the ministers and the officers try to calm the king and try to tell the king, look, it's not worth it. The case is lost. Why would you ruin your gem and your crown and everything for something which is very no chance of helping anyway? And what do you think the king says?
No, for sure, go for it. No.
Yeah. What's the crown worth? What's the kingship worth? What's anything worth? I don't know myself. So the king says, okay, even though there's no hope and even though it's so far-fetched, we're going to go ahead with this. And hopefully a drop will fall between his lips and he'll be able to get some energy back. Even though so much of this gem will become wasted, will fall on the side, will dribble down his throat, dribble all over the floor, etc. The Balatanya tells this mashal to Pinchas character and says to him, this is why you see Chassidus in the streets. Because Hashem has chosen, Bnei Yisrael are in a state of ill. We're talking, Baal Shem Tov's time is after Shabsai Tzvi. Shabsai Tzvi is a false messiah who convinces Am Yisrael they're going to be redeemed, and people sell their property, and people sell their land, and people do everything for him, and then he goes and marries a Sefer Torah, and then he goes and becomes a Muslim, and then it's all over. Okay? The hope and the drop. Okay? And then you have, before Shabsai Tzvi, you have Tachvatat, Chamoniki massacres, more percentage-wise, not number-wise, but percentage-wise, more Yidden died in the Chamoniki massacres than the Holocaust. Okay? It was a destruction for Am Yisrael. You had, after the Chamoniki massacres, you had a class separation where the Yidden who were less affected by the massacres and were able to, who had parents, were able to get on with life, were able to send their children to Cheder, they stayed from a Yidden. Okay? Then you had the Yidden who didn't have anything, who were left homeless, who were left without family to look after, and they couldn't go to Cheder. And you had 4 5-year-olds going to do manual labor to put bread in their mouths, and they never learned about Yiddishkeit. And those 5-year-olds became 20-year-olds, became 40-year-olds, became 60-year-olds, became grandparents, and they're bringing up generations of Yidden who have no clue, nothing about Yiddishkeit. So you have a divide. I mean, just today, imagine you have from a Yidden and Freya Yidden. Yidden who don't know, next. And how do many people, unfortunately, might view people who don't know? Nah, they're not really part of the picture, get on without them. But that's not okay, they're also Yidden. And so you have this divide. And the Baal Shem Tov comes with Torah's Chassidus, with Hashem's crown jewel, with the pnimius of the Torah, with the neshama of the Torah. The Baal Shem Tov comes to wake up the Yidden from their state of faint, to give them, like the crown prince, to wake them up. And even though so much of the Chassidus, of this precious neshama of the Torah gets wasted, and gets misunderstood, and gets lost in the streets, and whatever, if even a drop of it will enter our neshamas, if even a drop of the revelation of the Torah of Baal Shem Tov will affect us, it's worth all the waste. Got that?
Yes.
Okay. So that's one mashal to understand what Chassidus is.
It's like what I'm thinking about. It came like in a certain way so late in the day, according to Brias Oilim, like the world existed so long.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Why only now?
Yeah.
Okay. So in a negative sense, it was because Bnei Yisrael had finally hit the lowest of the low. We had finally hit such a low state where, if not for Torah Chassidus, what would be the future of Am Yisrael? Those who were unlearned would have forever been lost. The Baal Shem Tov with Torah Chassidus taught that every single yid is precious, taught that the tehillim of a simple person matters, taught that if somebody doesn't know Torah or isn't doing this properly, it's not their fault and Hashem still loves them. Basic things which we take for granted today. I mean, come on, today we love Yidden. This is something that was brought by the Baal Shem Tov. That the idea that Hashem is not only close to Talmidei Chachamim and those who are very from. The idea that Yiddishkeit is not, but Yiddishkeit can be done with a joy. Yeah. A Chassidish life today, the world we live in today, is so permeated with Chassidus. Whether you are from a Chassidish mishpacha or not from a Chassidish mishpacha, whether you live in a Chassidish community or not in a Chassidish, whether you're reading Chassidish Sfarim or not Chassidish Sfarim, it's so permeated into the world. We're going to explain this idea soon.
Yes.
That wherever you turn, you are being affected by Chassidus. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, we do very much live with Chassidus. The fact that no yid thinks that Hashem will not listen to your tefillahs unless you're very holy. Okay. The fact that every single yid understands that a child's tefillah is important, that a simple person's tefillah is important, yeah? This is a Chiddush Baal Shem Tov. Yeah. The fact that every single yid matters, even if they're not from a yid, is an idea of Baal Shem Tov. Now, it is forgotten in the sense that if we don't learn, and if we don't learn Torah and Chassidus, we can lose focus. We can start to think that Hashem doesn't love us. We can start to think that my tefillahs don't matter. We can start to think that I don't have a connection. We can start to think that a yid who isn't Shem it doesn't count. Okay? Yes, although the whole is permeated with this and it is very much there, the more you learn, the more aware you are, and the more on tune you are with these ideas. Yeah? So you're both right.
Yeah, no, very nice.
Okay. Why only now? So why only now is number one, because of the low state of Am Yisrael, it was needed to wake us up. But then you had where the Baal HaTanya believed in spreading Chassidus tremendously without any Hagbalas. And to the extent that he actually wrote the Sefer HaTanya, which was a huge breakthrough, printed it in a printing press. It wasn't just like written out anymore. It now became like official Sefer. And there was a Kitrug in Shemayim where the negative forces that want to stop all good things wouldn't put up with this idea of Hashem's precious Torah, Pnimius HaTorah, the essence of it all, being available for any Tom, Dick and Harry, should we say, to learn it. Yeah? I mean, the fact that we women and Tafshin Pei Aleph can sit around the table, open a Tanya and learn it. I mean, come on, this is Hashem's precious gem. This is not nothing, just you haven't yet learned Gemara, and you haven't yet learned the whole Chumash, and you haven't yet, and you think you can learn the Pnimius HaTorah. Yeah, but we do it. And we bring it into therapy, and we bring it into our lives, and we take Tanya and and Tanya's taught in Chabad houses to people that aren't Shema Shabbos and aren't Shema Kashrus. I mean, come on, how can you do that? Yeah. So there was a huge kitrug in Shemayim. How dare the Baal Tanya take Tanya, take the Pnimius HaTorah, the Neshama of the Torah, the essence of everything, Hashem's precious, and like this to the whole world. Yeah? What, no Kabbalahs. Yeah? Kabbalahs for special people. And that's why actually, the matter down here in this physical world, everything in this physical world happens because of Ruchnius, and everything Ruchnius comes because of this physical world. He was imprisoned for 53 days. In the high security prison of Tsarist Russia, he was in prison for 53 days, connected to the 53 Prakim of Tanya.
Wow.
Okay, and in the prison, he had a hiskalos, a revelation of the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid, who were already obviously nifter at the time, and they came to him in his prison cell, and he said to them, "Should I stop spreading Chassidus? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Am I doing too much?" And they said to him, "No, this is a challenge against you because you're spreading it so much. But you should, when you will be released, you should continue with an ever-growing force." And Taka, that's what happened. The Torah of Chassidus, the teaching of Chassidus, increased in a tremendous way after he was released from that imprisonment. Okay? Now, what was the kitcher of the accusation? Is that Chassidus is bringing spend too much? What was the answer to that accusation? The answer is that we are now ikvasid Mashiach. We are now heading very, very quickly towards the times of the end of days, right? And when the time of the Geula is a time when everyone will experience godliness, everyone will see how Yakir v'yelu kol yoshmi sevel, the whole world will come to recognize Hashem. Everyone's going to recognize that everything is just Hashem, that all the challenges we see is Hashem's hand behind it. There'll be no more hester upon him. There'll be revelation of everything I'm going through is Hashem's hand. That is what Mashiach's all about. I mean, when we get closer to the truth, we'll learn about Mashiach more, yeah? But that Mashiach's all about is recognizing Hashem in everything, seeing the neshama of everything, seeing everything not for its superficial hester upon him, but for its essence, Hashem's hand behind it. And Chassidus is here to train us to see that Pnimius, because Chassidus is the Pnimius of the Torah, the neshama of the Torah. So training us to see the world for its essence, that you know everything about Shavuos, but what's the essence of it all? You know everything about Pesach, you've learned it since you were a child. But what's the Pnimius of it all? That's Chassidus. Well, that's what Mashiach's time is all about. It's all about seeing everything for the neshama, seeing everything at soul level and not at external levels. And therefore, to get ready for that time, Hashem allowed the Baal Shem Tov to bring Chassidus into the world to train us, to get us ready for a time when we will recognize the neshama of everything. Does that answer?
Yes.
Okay, that's why only now, as we're getting, so on one hand, it's to save us from the terrible low state that we're in. At the same time, it's Dafka our generation because we are getting closer and closer to the arrival of Geula. Let's get on to the next bit. So the next bit, going up a page instead of down the page, is the idea that Chassidus is compared to oil. If Chassidus is Pnimius, the mashal for that is oil. Who likes essential oils?
Me.
You like essential oils?
Yes.
Okay. Give me examples of essential oils.
Lavender, number one, yes.
When you see a lavender plant, do you think that lavender has oil in it? Lavenders don't look very oily, do they?
No, they don't.
But you can extract oil from the lavender.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And what's in that oil? All the nutrients, all the strength, all the smell, all the potency of the lavender is in that oil.
No.
Does rosemary look like it has oil?
No,
It's
really
not a very oily plant at all.
No.
Quite dry rosemary.
Yes.
But what? You can extract oil from it.
Yes,
Does peppermint look like it's oily?
No.
But suddenly all the potency of the peppermint is in that oil. Correct? I mean, everything, if you think about it, how many essential oils are there? How do you know how many essential oils there are?
No.
Beyond number, no?
No, I don't.
There's a huge amount of essential oils out there.
Yeah, huge.
If you think about it, really, truthfully, anything you could really extract oil from. Is there anything you can't extract oil from?
No, I don't know.
Huh? Cotton has oil.
Oh, no.
Okay, so simply speaking, what is oil? Oil is a very interesting thing. Oil is the essence of each item. You have so many items in the world. They all have a chitzonius, what they are, what you think they are, and then you can extract the oil of any item. When you extract the oil of an item, you have all the potency, all the power, all the everything of it, but in a tamtzitz, in a tiny essence format. Okay? Vanilla essence, almond essence, peppermint essence, oil. You get the essence of anything. Okay? That is what Chassidus is. It is the essence of everything. Now take that mushel of oil a drop further. What happens when you want to scent your wardrobe with lavender oil, because apparently it helps for those moths that are so annoying. If I don't know how to get rid of them, tell me. I have to get rid of mine. Okay? Sorry. And you're going to scent your wardrobe, and instead of pulling for the lavender, you accidentally pulled for the different essence, the peppermint one. You don't like the smell of peppermint, so you put peppermint in your wardrobe. How do you get rid of the smell?
Off.
Can you get rid of the smell?
Okay.
Once you put essential oil somewhere, it's stuck. I once did it. It was terrible. You know, tea tree oil has a horrible smell. Horrible smell. And I was trying to do peppermint, and I accidentally put the tea tree oil, and it's a horrible smell, and I was having people over in my house, and I couldn't get rid of it, and it was terrible. But how do you get rid of the smell? You can't. Okay? Oil is such that on one hand it's the essence of everything. At the same time, when oil goes somewhere, it stains, it permeates, it's stuck, you cannot extract it. Have you ever over-oiled your food and tried to get rid of oil? Impossible. So we're talking about what Chassidus is, and we're saying that it's compared to oil in the sense that the essence of anything is the oil of it, okay? Everything has its oil. Everything has its essence. In that oil is contained all the power, all the potency of it. All the characteristics of it is contained in the oil. And oil stains everything, permeates everything. You can't get it out. Once it's there, it's there. You put the tea tree oil by accident, and you can try to replace it with, it's stuck. The smell is there, okay? The potency is there, it's stained. Likewise, if you eat oil, my gosh, you can't get rid of it, right? So it's stuck, okay? That is the power of Chassidus, in the sense that it is the essence, the neshama of everything. The neshama of a mitzvah will be the Chassidus of a mitzvah, the real kavanah of it, the real meaning of it, the neshama of a medrash, the neshama of a story, the neshama of a halacha, will be the Chassidus behind it. And once you bring it in, you cannot take it out. So you asked about different people who are not officially Chassidish, Come on. Post Baal Shem Tov, this world is so full of Chassidus, you cannot extract it from anything. There is no such thing as a community which has not been affected by the ways of Chassidus. But at the same time, there are communities which are focused more on the learning of Chassidus, which will voluntarily expose themselves more to the learning of Chassidus. They will obviously be more affected than those who don't do it willfully. But there is no such thing. That isn't. Even like you have publications which are officially non-Chassidish publications. I don't know, Hamadiga and Bina and Ami and whatever. They're so full of Chassidus. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
There isn't. It's everywhere.
There are some cases which is not no Chassidus.
The Yiddishkeit today cannot survive without the Torah of Baal Shem Tov, and there is no such thing as a Yiddishkeit avoided with the Torah of Baal Shem Tov.
People say we're not Chassidish.
The Chagim maybe not, the Derech HaLimud maybe not, but the fact that every Yid is precious, and that a simple Yid counts, and that Hashem loves you, and we serve to Hashem b'simcha, come on! Chassidish and Nagunim. Who doesn't know Chassidish and Nagunim? Is the Regid that will not sing Chassidus and Nagunim? Give me a break. It's part of life. So the Chassidus is the neshama, the essence of everything, the neshama of the Torah. When it comes to Avodas Hashem, the neshama of that is it must be b'simcha. When it comes to tefillah, the neshama of that is that every single person's tefillah matters. And these are examples of neshama. Okay? There is no misnagdim today. Sorry.
We learned it in school.
Yeah, there was once upon a time people who were very misnaggy to Chassidus, But today...
When it was building up.
Yeah, when it started, it was a foreign new thing. People were like, what on earth?
Look at, sorry, I hope I'm not offending anyone.
No.
Look at 50, 60 years ago, I don't know how many years ago, when there was the idea of Kirov became popular, originally in Hasidic circles. Now, the Litvish circles are sending out people to all types of places for Kirov work.
Yeah.
And 50 years ago, they were complaining, how dare you do Kirov? There isn't such a thing as not being affected. We live in a global world.
Towns in America
we're all affected by each other.
Young rabbis.
Mikvahs.
Yeah.
Torah is Torah. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael are one. We're all together. We're all connected. There's no such thing as this and that. It doesn't exist.
How is it oil with water? Where's
okay. So oil. On one hand, Chassidus is above the world in the sense that it doesn't. It's a teva checher from everything. It doesn't
mix.
It doesn't get confused with the confusion of the darkness. At the same time, it permeates everything. On one hand, you put oil and water, it won't mix. On the other hand, you can't get it out. Okay? That's the mashal for what it is. Moving on, yeah.
Sorry, going back what you're saying, but it's still only 300 years ago, so I'm wondering what was before that?
So,
How, like, I think, how could you exist without it?
so so on the positive
Could you
side,
exist without
on
that?
the positive side, the Bnei Yisrael were a holier,
Yes.
more pure matzav.
It was
The Golos wasn't so dark, and because the Golos wasn't so dark, we were able to survive
seems so
without
parav.
it.
It seems parav.
What?
Everything without Chassidus, everything seems parav.
Okay,
We're
but
more
the
higher,
Bnei
so
Yisrael,
more elevated, more connected
Connected to Hashem.
connected to Hashem.
We don't need the Chassidus to connect them. That's something else.
Yeah.
before the Baal Shem Tov, the Golos wasn't so dark,
Yeah.
and therefore this gem of the king's crown wasn't necessary. And on the other side of the coin, and on the other way, is that being that much further away from Mashiach's time, it wasn't yet the time to begin preparing for Mashiach. You know, I know in Muncie they eat cholent from Wednesday night in the gas stations, but normal people, yeah, when do you taste the food of Shabbos? Friday afternoon, okay? Not Wednesday night. So if you talk about the 6th millennium of creation being 6 days of the week, and Mashiach being the millennium Hashvi'i, yeah? We are now holding in the matzah of Friday afternoon. His scholars of the Baal Shem Tov came at the time in history, if you count 1,000 years of the day, the time of Friday afternoon where you start to taste the food of Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you taste the food of Shabbos on Friday afternoon, you taste the revelation of Mashiach, of seeing Pnimius and everything, of seeing the essence of everything, as you're getting closer to the time. That was the turn of the clock. Okay? A very special time in history. Okay. Moving on, I want to give another mashal of what Chassidus is, and then there's one more thing we need to talk about, okay? One more mashal of what Chassidus is, and I've used this mashal before, so forgive me if you've heard it before. I think some people must have heard it 3-4 times, but okay. Always worth hearing it again. You come into a room, okay? And the room is pitch black, okay? Everything is there in the room. Everything is present, okay? The table is set, the chairs are there, the windows are there, the tapestries are there. Everything is there in the room, but you cannot see it. So you know it's there, and you can sense and you can feel and you can deduce what everything is. So you go and you say, this must be a door because I see it has a way in it. Oh, but there's a glass here. Oh, so maybe it's not a door. Maybe it's it ends here. Must be a window. 1 second, but it's got this. What's this? Oh yeah. So you deduce based on your feeling what everything must be, and that's kind of limud haGemara if you think about it, or limud halacha, back and forth and up and down and back, yeah, until we figure out what it is, yeah. You know, a yom tiv has its halachos, and it has its minhagim, and it has its history, and it has its details, and it has its inspiration, and there's also remnants. And by the way, there's also the side to the yom tiv, yeah? So yom tiv has so many details, okay? Or you can come into the room, switch on the light, and you can see it, okay? Do you need all the details when you see it? When you see it, it's there. Okay? We had an exercise in school. Let's do this exercise right now. Can everybody please take a pen? On your worksheet, or on the back of your worksheet, or anywhere else. Yeah. I want you to draw a line at the bottom.
Yes.
A line at the bottom. And I want you to, on the right side of the line, draw a perpendicular line. And on the left side of the line, I want you to draw another perpendicular line. Now, I want you to draw a parallel line to the original line. Now, on top of what you created, I want you to put
On top of what?
On top of what you created, I want 2 slopes meeting at a right angle.
Okay.
And then I want you, on one of the slopes, to draw 2 parallel lines, one shorter than the other. 2 parallel lines, one on top of the other.
Where?
Now, on the original line, I want a semicircle.
Okay.
and I want a dot to the right of the semicircle.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what have you created?
A house.
Huh?
A house.
Okay.
Clown's hat.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you understand how, without Chassidus, that's what human life is like?
Yeah.
Now, if I would tell you all that I want you to draw this exactly, yeah, how quickly would that take you? A second.
Yeah.
Okay? But without me showing it to you, if I just tell it to you in each detail, it takes you time. Most of you figure out you meant a house, but some of you didn't figure out you meant a house. Well, you would have eventually when you spoke to your friend.
Yeah.
Okay? So without Chassidus, everything's there. Everything is there. There's nothing new in Torah. Everything is there. But it's a detail, and another detail, and another detail. And Chassidus is like turning on a light, or like seeing it suddenly. Right, that's what you meant. Okay? You know what it's like when, I don't know if you wear prescription glasses, what it's like when you, before you knew you needed prescription glasses, when you're walking around and everything's blurry and everything's schmurry and you can't see, and you didn't know you need a prescription. And suddenly you figure out you need prescription glasses, you get your glasses, and the world's a different world. Okay? That's the idea. It is the panemius of everything. It is seeing everything for what it actually is. People come and they say, and I want to know, if I come to Tanya, you see, I have issues with, and I'll tell you an issue. Either it's emunah, or it's relationships, or it's getting stuck in themselves, or it's something else, yeah? Each person has a different thing which they're looking to solve, a problem. Does Chassidus answer this question? And what do I say to them? No, sorry, we don't. We don't offer answers to anything, actually. All we do is offer light. With a little bit of light, hopefully your problems will go away. Yeah, you gotta learn it on a regular basis, like you have to eat on a regular basis, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
But definitely like
nourishment.
You can see.
so it's like another petal and another petal.
It's a nourish the neshama.
Yeah.
Okay?
What it gives you, the Tanya gives you light.
Yeah.
Tanya is
what I mean,
one
they're saying.
sefer of Chassidus. It's a very primary sefer of Chassidus, yeah? There's a one sefer of Chassidus. But you can't explain what it is till the person has come and experienced it, and then they get a taste of what it is. Okay. I did the worksheet backwards because when I do it frontwards, it didn't work. But the frontwards way of the worksheet, top of the worksheet, which we didn't do yet, is basically that we started off saying how there's something of what it is, and then its benefits that it has. So if you think about Torah, yeah, Torah has many benefits. Torah is Torah is the wisdom, the best wisdom in the world. You think about the Rambam was able to heal people and knew so much stuff, and he knew astrology so well. Where from? Yeah, he did learn other wisdoms, he did, but the brilliance came from the Torah. Okay. Someone who learns Torah, everything's in Torah. So Torah is the greatest wisdom. The Baal Tanya, a story of his younger man, there was a poet, a nobleman who had a sundial, and the sundial wasn't working between, say, the hours of 12 and 3, whatever it was, and they couldn't figure out why the sundial wasn't working. And then they realized that the sun, all the professors, all the mathematicians, all the technicians couldn't figure out why the sundial wasn't working. Somebody wanted to make a Kiddush Hashem, and said, this younger man, he'll be able to answer. They brought him over today to make Kiddush Hashem. And he looked at the sundial and he said very simply that a certain amount of miles away, there's a hill, and there's a tree on that hill, and the tree is blocking the light. Come on, can't be impossible. 9 miles away, come on. But if he said so, they went to check it out, and there was a hill, and there was a tree, and they cut down the tree, and the sundial started working again without a problem. Now, where did he know that from? Did he learn maths and science and whatever? No. From Torah, okay? A person who really learns Torah has the best wisdom. When we have an issue with our day-to-day normal running of our human lives, yeah, we go ask Das Torah. Why? Because somebody who really learns Torah properly, somebody who really knows what Torah says, has a certain vision, has a certain understanding of the world. Torah is the greatest wisdom. But is that what Torah is? No, that's not what Torah is. That's a byproduct of Torah. It's a benefit of Torah. Torah is also the greatest morals. You have all every society tries to come up with morals and values and ethics, okay? Ethical this and ethical that. Are their ethics right or wrong? Well, sometimes they're more right, sometimes they're more wrong. They change their ethics every few years, yeah? Is this ethical, is it not ethical? It's a matter of opinion, okay? Torah teaches us the best derech HaChaim, the best ethics, the best morals, that last from Har Sinai through the times of the Greeks and the Romans till today. Okay, it hasn't changed. But is Torah a derech HaChaim? Is Torah just morals? No. Torah is Torah, and because it's Torah, therefore it has the best morals and the best chachma as well. Torah is also upkeeps the entire world. If not the Torah, the world will cease to exist. But is that what Torah is? Is it the chayes behind the world? No, Torah is a lot more than that. So what is Torah? So Torah is the definition of Torah, yeah? The wisdom of Hashem, and Oraisa v'Kuchabricha Kulacha is one with Hashem. Torah is one with Hashem. Well, if Torah is one with Hashem, of course it's the best chachma when it comes down to this world. If Torah is one with Hashem, of course it's the only true value system. If Torah is one with Hashem, of course without it the world would cease to exist. Of course it's the blueprint of the world. All of these amazing milas, amazing advantages of how fantastic Torah is, are all results of the fact that it's one with Hashem. Yeah? Likewise Chassidus. People, what is Chassidus? People feel, Chassidus, Chassidus is, the beginning of trouble so low, and Chassidus came to wake us up. Chassidus is like a Varumkeit for Yiddishkeit. Yeah, Chassidus is a Varumkeit for Yiddishkeit. That's not what Chassidus is. Yeah? Chassidus teaches us to go to the Mishuras Hadin. We don't just keep the halacha what we have to. We keep, kashrus behidor, and tznius behidor, and Shabbos we add to, and we do everything in the most beautiful way because that's Chassidus. Yeah, true. Chassidus did teach us to go to the Mishuras Hadin, but that's not what Chassidus is. Okay. All of these things are benefits or byproducts. Oh, Chassidus is a pirush on Kabbalah. Kabbalah is not understandable, and Chassidus brought Kabbalah that we can all understand. Well, that's true, yeah? Chassidus didn't make Kabbalah understandable to normal people like you and I, but that's not what it is. What it is the neshama of the Torah, neshama of the Reis, like we said. Because it's the neshama of the Torah, therefore, of course it makes us go to the Mishuras Hadin. Because the neshama of the Torah, of course it makes Sod understandable as well as Pshat, Ramus, and Drush. Because the neshama of the Torah, of course it gives us a chayas in our Yiddishkeit. Of course it wakes us up from our sorry, sleepy states. Okay? All of these things which we feel Chassidus is, connects us to Hashem, whatever examples we brought, yeah? Teaches us to be b'simcha. All of these things is because it is the neshama. When the neshama shines, all of these things happen. Okay? Now, that's the end of today's share. The next step from here is to take an example in Torah. And the example we're going to use is, I mentioned to you, we're going to do this, is the Moida Ani Tefillah. Moida Ani Lefanecha Melech HaYom. It's the way we start off our day in the morning. It's a acknowledgement when we wake up. Take the Moida Ani and show how the Moida Ani is explained in the Pshat of Torah, how it's explained in Remes, how it's explained in Drus, how it's explained in Sod, and then to show how the neshama, how Pshat of Moida Ani has a neshama to it, which is the Chassidus. How the Drush of Moida Ani has a neshama to it. The Remes of Moida Ani has a neshama to it. The Sod of Moida Ani has a neshama to it. And how each level of Torah has its neshama. Every single Rashi in the Torah has a Chassidus behind it. Every single halacha in the Torah has a Chassidus behind it. Every single mitzvah has a Chassidus behind it. Okay?
So in the time of the Baal Shem Tov, they knew all this? All the Chassidus behind it?
Actually taught to the Baal Shem Tov in those 10 years.
All this.
And then it is something the Baal Shem Tov taught in Torahs, okay, in little short things. And that result fell asleep one Shabbos afternoon. Okay? And he had a vision of a pirush on, he had a pirush on something in Torah. And when he woke up, he said it would take him 70 years to teach what he saw in that dream.
Yeah.
So something that Baal Shem Tov learned for 10 years in the Chaya Shiloni is not something that he could have taught in his lifetime. No. However, he taught the essence of it. Yeah, the Torahs of Baal Shem Tov are extremely short. If you look at Kes Shem Tov or the Torahs of Baal Shem Tov, extremely short Torahs. The Maggid expounded a little bit further. But only through Torahs of Chassidus, you saw in my house how many Sfarim there are, yeah? and that's just a fraction of it, you know. We're still trying to get some more. There's Shabbos and Shabbos full of Chassidus Svarim. There's what to learn. Yeah? And it explains it slowly. How many Rashis in the Torah do we have the Chassidish Pirush for? Not even half. Less than half. Quarter, whatever, yeah? But when you learn how to see Rashi with the Pnimius eyes, you will see every Rashi differently. It's like turning on the light. I'll end up with one little last thing. You have to go already, I'm over time. Sorry. you get an optical illusion, and it says, what are you seeing? You see one thing, and that's what you see the face there, that's the nose, that's the eyes, yeah. Oh, I see it. Yeah. You will never be able to see that picture again without seeing that face there, correct?
Yeah.
Once you see the neshama of something, you see it and you can't take it out. That's the Chassidus.